Hi, my name is Beer, and let's start with The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. This is probably the best fantasy open-world RPG ever created, and I doubt that I could find anyone who at least never heard of it. Well, at least inside the Western influence hemisphere, it's a true legend. On Steam it has more than 600,000 reviews, and 96% of these people recommend this game for you. And I don't know who are the 4% who didn't like the game. I scrolled for like 5 minutes through hundreds of reviews and failed to find any explaining why, although I finally found one. Dude said that he doesn't like developers anymore after the flop of Cyberpunk 2077, which is honestly a good game by now, and that's why he gave a negative review for Witcher 3. That is not serious. And my friendship with Witcher Geralt started way before any of the games were released. I read the book when I was a teenager, and after many years I even got Andrzej Sapkowski to sign it for me when he was visiting Lithuania for some book fair or something. And we also spoke for like 20 seconds as well. Never washed my mouth in years after that. Anyway, the game has an incredible story, super fun gameplay, and a huge dark fantasy open world to explore. The coolest thing is, of course, your profession. You kill monsters for money, so you can just travel around the map and fulfill contracts ignoring the main story as long as you want or as long as you can get a new contract. And every single monster hunt is a handcrafted mission with different outcomes and sometimes hard moral choices. Third Witcher is probably the best game I have ever played. Divinity Original Sin 2. Here you can become some really interesting hero. Choose from 6 unique origin characters with their own backgrounds and agendas. For example, you can become a flesh-eating elf. You may think, what, is that the lame feature that regenerates health like ghouls have in every game? No, it's way cooler. Once I found a dead body, and there was an option to, eat its leg. I was like, why not? And I ate it. And suddenly I saw who killed the guy because this feature of mine worked in this mysterious way, and I completely forgot that I have it. I just ate the leg because I can. So the game gives you freedom that is sometimes a bit absurd. That is awesome. Anyway, here you will explore the vast and layered world alone or in a party of up to 4 friends in a cooperative play. You can even play on split screen with your mother-in-law. Go anywhere, unleash your imagination, and explore almost endless ways to interact with the world. There's more to experience in PvP and Game Master modes. In the latter, you'll create your own stories or download fan-made campaigns from Steam Workshop. Game has an overwhelmingly positive review score. A must-play, that's a fact. Spellforce free Reforced. If you are searching for something like the third Warcraft, search no more. This is a fun mix of RPG and RTS, meaning that most of the time you will control heroes that can gain experience, new skills and all that. Really similar to Warcraft's additional huge maps where you control Rexa, and the other half of the game is traditional base building, unit training and upgrading so you could swarm the enemy with your eternal wrath. Campaigns are really well written, so reading and listening for conversations will be the thing you'll do a lot. And I mean it, about a third of the game consists of dialogues. So if you just want quick matches where you can show your insane APM of 20, it's not the case. But if you want story-rich RTS RPG game, this is definitely for you. Grim Dawn. Among all the games similar to Diablo, there is no doubt that Grim Dawn is one of the best examples ever made in this field. More than 90% of positive reviews can confirm that with ease. Here you'll be able to enjoy the dual class system. Combine any of 6 distinct classes with over 25 skills and modifiers per class, meaning that your hero will definitely be some kind of unique abomination nobody else has. Although I can say from my own experience, if you are playing for the first time, don't do that. Swallow your dignity and just watch some tutorial of the most powerful build possible, because otherwise you may end like me. You will nurture a warrior who does cool magic, but later in the game is completely useless, and that drop of quality is huge, from a Gandalf to a Las Vegas magician.
I will tell Pen Gillette about this blasphemy, he will make you disappear.
Oh, no, please don't.
It's too late for that.
Iratus, Lord of the Dead. This is a turn-based tactical roguelite RPG set in a dark fantasy universe. You'll have to lead an army of undead to reach the surface world and bring death to the mortal realms. They lack death on the surface, so you are ready to supply the demand. So you will control an obedient army of the living dead. All the classic monsters. Skeletons, zombies, banshees, other unliving warriors, I swear, I know more. And you will create your soldiers the only way a necromancer knows how, from the body parts of your slain enemies. Iratus definitely has a high replayability due to different minion composition in your team. Also, there are multiple different pathways to take when it comes to finishing the game. The main story will take up to 12 hours of your boring life. Planescape Torment Enhanced Edition. The game without a doubt has one of the most impressive worlds among all CRPG games. Really unique locations, art style and characters makes this game a must-play for every RPG fan. Although keep in mind that Planescape Torment is more like a book where you can choose what the main protagonist will do next. Fighting part is not as important here as dialogues, but in general the game is more than 50 hours long, so if you can enjoy walls of text, you will be up for a treat. The game is old, but this enhanced edition is, enhanced with better resolution, 4K interface, quick loot, remastered music and all the life quality improving content that we didn't have back then when it initially came out. This is without a doubt a classic that you can't ignore. Disco Elysium. This is one of the greatest role-playing experiences you will ever have, but play it only if you like reading a lot and like games without combat. You will not find any here. Well, I mean combat that is not a result of your dialogue choices. Your character will do things automatically based on the decisions you make, and those decisions of yours are not always very smart, and Disco Elysium just lets you do stupid things, which is kinda scary because suddenly you may realize that you just wanted to test the waters, but instead you actually made the decision that will have grim consequences. And by grim, I mean really grim. On some of those occasions, the game just ends. You may see game over screen without even playing an hour. And the game is like,
I told you, but you pushed me hard, so the consequences are yours to swallow.
yeah, actually Disco Elysium has 3 different endings and 12 unique game overs. Those I talked about before. So always, and I mean always, think twice before doing something stupid. And then think twice while playing Disco Elysium as well. Because no matter how stupid the decision you want to make is, the game may let you do it. Darkest Dungeon. In this challenging turn-based roguelite RPG, you will recruit and train heroes and send them to battle in a variety of dungeons. Yeah, as always, send others to do your own job. The interesting part is that these said heroes are very, human. In-game they will battle not only enemies but also stress, fear and lack of potato salad, by which I mean hunger. So you will uncover strange mysteries and pit the heroes against an array of fearsome monsters. Game may not look like it's a lot of fun, but it is, believe me. Even though people love this game, at times it can seem punishing and unfair. But in general, Darkest Dungeon is fun if you like numbers, strategy and turn-based combat. Also, players are seeing many similarities with H.P. Lovecraft stories, like The Alchemist and famous Call of Cthulhu as well, not to mention overall dark and gloomy vibes. Ancestors, the Humankind Odyssey. This is a really original and truly amazing game where you play as an ape. Yeah, your journey starts 10 million years ago, and by then we still shared our ancestors with gorillas and chimpanzees. Our last common ancestor with the apes, chimpanzees to be exact, is known to be roughly about 5 million years old. So you start as an ape and over the years evolve into an early human. The whole game spans from 10 million to 2 million years ago. Your task is for you and your tribe not to die and not to choose the path of extinction. The future of humanity is in your hands, like literally. As developers say, evolution was not written in stone. Your decisions will shape how you will overcome obstacles, increase your species, and what knowledge you will pass on to future generations. You can focus on specific attributes or choose a more balanced approach to survival. Your clan's ability to survive will be directly impacted by your decisions and choices, making each player's experience a unique one. It's a wonderful game reminding us that we are just starting to go on our evolutionary path as human species. 2 million years is nothing. Dinosaurs existed for 165 million years before they all died out, except the birds, of course, add another 65 million years to that big number. That is a huge difference. Not as huge as your mama though. Underrail. Game is set in a distant future when life on the surface has long gone and the only remnants of humanity now dwell in the Underrail, a vast system of metro station states that, it seems, are the last bastions of a fading race. Here you take control of one of the denizens of such a station state, whose life is about to become all that much more interesting and dangerous as you are caught in the middle of conflicting factions of the Underrail as they violently struggle to survive in the harsh underground environment. Game will take about 60 hours of your boring life, so it's a decent storyteller, although it's difficult and may sometimes infuriate you. Greedfall Gold Edition. Here you'll have a complete freedom in character progression. Play as a male or female, customize your appearance and freely choose your abilities, spells and skills. But do not expect miracles, this is not a highest level RPG, although it looks like one. Greedfall was created in 3 years and its budget was about $5 million. For a AAA open world game like this, it's the bare minimum for it to be decent, so treat it more like a very expensive indie game instead. Somewhat similar budget had the Kingdom Come Deliverance team, and Skyrim's budget was about $1 100 million. For it you can literally create 20 games like Greedfall, so keep that in mind before you start comparing Greedfall with the giants of the genre. And this version, Greedfall Gold Edition, includes a DLC, so this is a better version of the game if you compare it with just the basic Greedfall. It is a decent game, and as I've said many times, I would give it about 7 cold beers out of 10. The Dungeon of Naheulbeuk, the Amulet of Chaos. This is a humoristic approach to the serious CRPG genre. The story and whole game is based on a classic humoristic French radio show, so it's filled with French humor. You know, everything is about the baguettes and Eiffel Tower. Also, if you are British, for you this game on Steam costs a few times more than for everyone else, and by buying it you must accept the terms that you agree that France is way more developed country than United Kingdom is. Then you get a 10% discount. Well, that is of course not true, that was some Lithuanian humor for you, but I guess they could really implement that as a joke as well. Anyway, here you'll find exciting battles with creative support mechanics between team members and an adaptive difficulty system, from an accessible and fun story mode with simplified combat to the nightmare mode, where the smallest tactical errors will doom you. Here you'll also encounter more than 100 enemies and epic boss battles. And you know, not every game must have a serious story, sometimes we all need to relax, and this game might be just it. Torment, Tides of Numenera. I have to say that while the game is inspired by this classic game, Tides of Numenera doesn't share the lore of Planescape Torment. Instead it shares the composer Mark Morgan, a dude who created music not only for Planescape Torment but also for Fallout 1 and 2. So in game you will hear about 50 different music tracks made by him. So here your words, choices and actions are your primary weapons, meaning that this game consists mostly of reading and talking rather than fighting. World of Numenera is really impressive. Hand-drawn original setting filled with offbeat and unpredictable items to use in and out of battle, and also cool feats of magic. Powered by technology used in the award-winning Pillars of Eternity, the game provides numerous wonders and impressive locations for you to explore. People are talking that one of the best parts of Numenera is the character creation process, good leveling mechanics and interesting NPCs, but boy oh boy, there are so many comments ranting about the reading part. Outward Definitive Edition. This is an open-world survival game with Souls-like combat mechanics. In this edition you will find both DLCs, new weapons, dungeons and also several life quality improvements. The game has only a mostly positive review score on Steam, but it doesn't do the justice. Most people who are giving a dislike spend 40 to 60 hours in game, and that honestly looks like some kind of masochism. If you don't like the game, just don't play it. Like Warren Buffett once said, always take the easy road and you will get there first. Anyway, Outward is like Skyrim and Dark Souls had a weird hybrid baby, and instead of abortion, this time they decided to keep it. If you like both games, why not? Outward has some problems, but in general it is a nice game. King Arthur, Knight's Tale. This is a cool hybrid between turn-based games like XCOM and traditional character-centric CRPGs. You'll find diverse battle maps where you will have to position yourself to avoid shield walls and flank your enemies. Also use covers against archers, make use of the terrain, hide in the foliage and surprise your enemies with your endless wisdom. Knight's Tale is a modern retelling of a classic story with a heavy touch of dark fantasy tropes, a twist on the traditional tales of chivalry and a bearded wizard with a friendly smile. You will encounter nothing like that here. Knight's Tale is grimdark and really refreshing on your eyes, tired from all these colorful games nowadays. Although keep in mind that all your characters are expendable and if they die they will stay dead forever, meaning that the game is leaning to the hardcore and may not be very easy for you. Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen. This is a massive, challenging action RPG that drops you into a vast open world full of interesting characters and creatures. The game is made by Capcom, a Japanese company, but the whole setting of Dragon's Dogma is European. So you may think maybe because of that this game features some ridiculous moments, but Capcom was really serious about the job. They went all around Europe to actually get a lot of information, especially for the backgrounds and environments in the Dragon's Dogma. They looked at architecture and buildings and things of that nature, and also just natural environments as well. Also took many pictures and tried to recreate those as closely as possible. Well, a bunch of Japanese people in Europe taking pictures? Who could have thought? Anyway, developers actually did a lot of research in Europe that helped to recreate stuff in game, and that level of dedication is truly admirable. Dragon's Dogma has more strategy and more dynamic fights than usual action RPG games. You know, you can climb monsters here and that is super cool. Also, it's a tougher game in general. But if you like to explore the open world and love fantasy games, you you can't ignore it. Gamers are talking that this is an underrated gem and is a must-play for every open-world RPG fan. Kenshi. This is a free-roaming, squad-based RPG focusing on open-ended sandbox gameplay. You can be a trader, a thief, a rebel, a warlord, a slave, or just food for the cannibals. The freedom is here and it's up to you how you would use it. You can research new equipment and craft new gear, purchase and upgrade your own buildings to use as safe fortified havens when things go bad, or use them to start up a business. Well, it's a sandbox game after all. You can aid or oppose the various factions in the world while striving for the strength and wealth necessary to simply survive in the harsh desert. You will train your men up from puny victims to master warriors, carry your wounded squadmates to safety and get them all home alive. The game is purely single player and it's an owner of overwhelmingly positive reviews left by tens of thousands of people. Talespire. It is a beautiful way to play pen and paper RPGs, except here you won't need pen and paper. Instead, you can bring your own stories to life and embark upon campaigns together with your friends. Regardless of where you are in the world, the engine of Talespire will do everything it can to make you happy. Well, sadly, it can't make potato salad. Just a disclaimer. So, in a way, it's a tabletop game where rules, battles and adventures are supervised by AI. As developers say, the beauty of real-world tabletop gaming here meets the endless possibilities of a digital world. Here you can build your adventures without compromising the handcrafted aesthetic of using traditional miniatures. You can take on a mantle of multiple heroes and creatures, manage your stats and express yourself using the emote system, perform dice rolls directly on board and interact with your environment. As a game master, you can dazzle and thrill your friends by building expansive maps, setting up shots and controlling immersive soundscapes to bring all your delightful and devious designs to life. I also have to say that Talespire is not tied to a specific game or rule set. You make rules or bend them as you wish, and the game makes sure that no one can break them. Talespire is in early access right now, so don't expect miracles, but hey, early access game with 94% of positive reviews? Now I've seen everything. Wasteland 3 Colorado Collection. I will say bluntly, if you like tactical turn-based games, this RPG here is a must-play. It's not a recommendation or something, but the law. You must play it if you want to go, to game hell after your death. Anyway, this version of the game includes both the Battle of Steeltown and Cult of the Holy Detonation expansions, as well as the Colorado Survival Gear bonus items. And the game itself is a wonderful gem for all Fallout, Baldur's Gate and all turn-based combat fans. In Wasteland 3 you will travel to the frozen wastes of Colorado to deal with gangs, cults and psychopathic clowns in effort to bring stability to the wastes. Or, as always, even more chaos and even more psychopathic clowns. Yeah, not like in real life, your decisions really matter and the world will change according to your actions and reactions. Wartales. It has been 100 years since the world saw the fall of the once great Edoran Empire at the hands of an unprecedented plague that swept the nation. So prepare to lead a group of characters in a huge open world where combat, death and thirst for riches will shape and define your day-to-day life. You are not a special chosen one ushering in a new era of peace. Nah, your goal is solely to survive. Well, and thrive in this harsh and hostile land. From the most insignificant petty thieves to the land's most notorious figures, there is no such thing as a profit too small to take. You can recruit from the vast array of new companions with numerous unique skill sets and weapon preferences, resulting in a plethora of possible builds. You will accept contracts that will take you on a task to defend, liberate and save the many inhabitants of the land for money. You are not a hero, remember? Also here you will be able to collect bounties. From the most insignificant pathetic thieves to the land's most notorious figures. There is no such thing as a profit too small to take. Very wise words, probably many times spoken by Quark from Star Trek Deep Space Nine. Kingdom Come Deliverance. If you take Skyrim and strip it of dragons, trolls, elves and magic, you might get a very boring game. Not as boring as your sister, but really, you may think that it would probably suck. But these Czech developers who created Kingdom Come Deliverance managed to make a realistic medieval Skyrim-like game that is not only not boring, but is one of the most famous open-world games nowadays. It has a great story, interesting missions and a really beautiful world set in an ancient part of nowadays Czech Republic. So grab your wooden sword and show everyone how to fight. Well, Well, I'll be honest, this game is terribly hard at the beginning. A simple drunken peasant will destroy your dignity at ease. The learning curve is not friendly at all, but you will learn, everyone learns. You're not worse than everyone, right? Although in general, the harsh reality of a level 1 villager that decided to become a warrior is not very pleasant, like in any game. And combat here is very realistic. I'm not kidding, some duels against stronger foes can span 15 minutes or even more. Here you will really feel like a lone warrior fighting for your life. Immersion definitely over 9000. Tower of Time. This is a story-rich dungeon crawler with innovative real-time combat that lets you pause or slow time, and here you have to turn on your brain if you want to succeed. And I mean it, every battle is specially designed to be a tactical puzzle, so it might be a bit challenging, or impossible, depends on your IQ I guess. Well, you can always adjust the difficulty, but that is an instant insult to your brain power, isn't it? Also because of that, the game is really suitable for fans of the genre and not so friendly for new players. Tower of Time will burn about 50 hours of your boring lifetime as you enjoy handcrafted levels and interesting story. You'll also find thousands of pieces of loot and equipment. Sunless Sea. This is a horror gothic game. Here you'll be able to explore the Victorian Gothic universe of fallen London, with a focus on exploration and exquisite storytelling. But be careful, some trips might lead you to a certain death, or worse, cannibalism, or the worst, lack of potato salad. Anyways, people really enjoy the beautiful art of this game. Here you'll also meet some very well painted Lovecraftian sea monsters, and the whole vibe in general is very ominous. Even though you will have to read walls of text here, you will do that with joy because the writing is fantastic. But don't expect fancy combat or fast plot lines full of exciting events. No, game is slow, but the brilliant storyline, writing quality, and world building aspects are all handled very well. The only downside is, since you will die a lot, you will have to start over. If the giant crabs, sentient icebergs and swarms of bats don't get you, madness and cannibalism certainly will. And those nicely written texts won't seem as nice to read for the 10th time. Sunless Sea is more like choosing your own adventure novel than a game. If you like slow-paced, story-rich games, then get in the boat and try to fish the biggest marinated herring you can find. Yes, they come from sea already marinated, if you're lucky enough. Remnant, From the Ashes. This is a third-person RPG shooter. Here the world has been thrown into a chaos by an ancient evil from another dimension. As gamers on Steam pointed out, they just ripped off a plot from Neverending Story. That's a shame, but in general this is a great game. If I had to describe it in one word, it would be RPG Dark Souls with guns. Yes, that is a one word if you throw out the spaces between them, and I did so, sue me. So here as one of the last remnants of humanity, you must set out alone or alongside up to 2 other survivors, and then face down hordes of deadly enemies, rebuild and retake what was lost. The strongest side of the game is the various guns and weapons. They're really good looking and fun to use. You know how in some other games you get a nice looking gun, but there is no real satisfaction to shoot it? Well, that's not the case in Remnant. Also, people are praising the Great Co-op mode, so you can play the game with your mother-in-law and do some nice bonding together. Icewind Dale Enhanced Edition. Made with the same Infinity engine as a classic Baldur's Gate, Icewind Dale is a more battle-oriented game. You'll find less side quests and less story, but you will enjoy an amazing atmosphere because the game is really detailed. Also, the party is entirely player-made with no other NPCs offering to join at any given moment. Although this is an enhanced edition, don't expect anything fancy or modern. Yeah, graphics are improved, quick loot is implemented, all the expansions are here, and even quests you never seen before. But those are not new quests. They were just cut off from the original release back in 2000s. So this remaster is like a new paint on an old building. The face is new, but the body is old and it plays like an old game as well. Be aware of that. Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice. Bound to protect a young lord who is a descendant of an ancient bloodline, you become the target of many vicious enemies. When the young lord is captured, nothing will stop you on a perilous quest to regain your honor. Well, except death. Death will stop you many times. Keep in mind that Sekiro is the creation of the same developers as the Souls games, and it's meant for people with masochistic tendencies. If you hate yourself, this game is for you. Although I have one piece of advice on how to easily beat this game. It's very simple. Stop being a noob and get good. Solasta, Crown of the Magister. You'll discover the shattered world of Solasta, explore ruins and dungeons for legendary treasures, learn the truth of an age-old cataclysm and stop it from happening again. You will be able to create your own party of adventurers in the classic tabletop RPG tradition. The choices you will make while choosing various skills, traits and backstories of your heroes will reflect in their dialogue. You know, if some of them are born in Potato Saladistan, they will always be enemies with the guys who put pineapple in their potato salad. And with these characters you will dive into long-forgotten dungeons to unearth ancient artifacts. But stay watchful of light and darkness. Many dangers hide in the dark, but a light can attract monsters as well. Some enemies have dark vision, some may flee from your torch, but, you know, as I always say, the best way to light your way is with fireballs. It doesn't really matter if your enemies have dark vision or not, a fried monster is always better than a raw monster, so the game is pure treasure for a CRPG fans, and also it includes Dungeon Manager, so you can make your own stories and maps, or play some good ones created by way more talented people than you. Also keep in mind that the game has 3 DLCs and 1 supporter pack available, and those DLCs along with the base game are constantly on one sale or another, and there is no better channel covering sales than this one, so subscribe, don't miss a good opportunity in the future. Spellforce 3 Fallen God. Well, most strategy and RPG fans know Spellforce games, but it seems that this one is somehow forgotten, and it is a beautiful game. It is an absolutely standalone title. You don't need to play or even know anything about Spellforce at all to enjoy it. The stories are absolutely separated, just like you and your ex right now. I would say that Fallen God is a hybrid between Warcraft 3 and party-based real-time RPGs. You will be traveling around extremely huge maps with your heroes, and from time to time you will have to build a base and attack unsuspecting enemies, pillage their puny villages and eat their children. Well, maybe not the latter, but who knows, some of your heroes look pretty ravenous to be honest. Legend of Grimrock. This title is perfect for those who like pineapple in potato salad and well-done steaks. Oh wait, it's a mistake, it's an absolutely different game and it shouldn't exist. This game is perfect for dungeon crawling fans because Legend of Grimrock is one of the best there is. It has a modern execution but an old school heart. A group of prisoners are sentenced to a certain death by exile to the secluded Mount Grimrock for vile crimes they may or may not have committed. Probably they put pineapple in the potato salad and cooked steaks until they were well done. If that is so, just leave them to die, they are not worthy. Okay, I'm kidding, you are a generous god and you must help everyone in need. So you are in charge of them and you will have to travel to ancient crumbled ruins, mysterious shrines and vast underground network of dungeons and mines. If the prisoners wish to make it out alive, they have to overcome all the challenges, form a team and descend through the ominous mountain. Although be warned that this game has one very annoying feature. You will be searching for hidden buttons all the time, and that is not fun at all. Expeditions Viking. Game description says, a small band of Norse warriors lands on the shores of England. History may have forgotten their names, but their actions live on. Well, as I always say, the actions Vikings made in real-life England involved a lot of pillaging and other crimes, like, you know, killing. So romantic and songs-worthy. Anyway, as the newly appointed chieftain of a modest Viking clan, you'll have a village of your very own. But to carve your name into the runestones of history, you'll need great strength and great wealth to grow your village's prosperity. There is little left to be gained from the Norse lands, and so you must set your sights on the seas to the west, where tales speak of a great island filled with treasure and slaves ready for the taking. Game has a very positive review score on Steam, but there are also quite a few comments saying that the game is a bit too slow, you know, just like your sister. Tyranny. In a realm where the tyrant has already won, you must decide how to reshape the world. Will you become an all-powerful dictator, or will you strengthen the pillars of a new regime? You are not a random villager here. In fact, you will wield a vast amount of power in the occupied lands. So basically, you are some kind of a Littlefinger. Just be careful to not end up like Littlefinger as well. You know, dead. Also, it's not a spoiler, Game of Thrones ended about 4 years ago. Yeah, time flies. So in Tyranny, your actions really matter, and no decision here is truly black or white.
Or Asian.
The choices here are morally obscure and will never let you out of the situation easily. People on Steam really love that this game is very detailed and the world itself feels alive and immersive. The combat might be challenging, but it is fair, since it rewards the players who take the time to strategize. Just be warned that Tyranny is more like a book. Be ready for the walls of text everywhere you go. Hogwarts Legacy. I had a lot of fun playing this game, although I bought it with the idea of playing it a bit, making a review to my channel and forgetting about it. Well, turns have tabled while I played it. It was so much fun to explore the land and meet various characters, I refused to convert it into a job. So I just played the game for my own pleasure and completely skipped it on my channel. So far, it's the best game I tried this year. Well, Baldur's Gate 3 and Starfield is on the horizon, so Hogwarts Legacy will probably be the crown sooner or later. Or not, I don't know, I only hope. All in all, Hogwarts Legacy was one of the few games that actually survived the hype train and never crashed anywhere. The game has above 90% of positive reviews on Steam, and I would give the game 10 cold beers out of 10 without much thinking. The world is very detailed, quests are handcrafted and fun, magic truly feels like magic, and the world is really open, although the map is shaped like a bow, very narrow and long. But that's maybe a thing of a lore, I don't know, I have never read the books, only seen the movies. Only thing that actually spoiled the game a bit was how soon I got the ability to fly. That absolutely crashed the exploration on foot part. Flying in Hogwarts is awesome, but I would have given this ability way later in the game. The variety of enemies also could be wider, but hey, it's a great game, you have all my recommendations. Thank you for watching, and let's meet in another Steam Summer Sale video.